Hey, everybody. Am I live? I feel live. Somebody type something in real quick and let me know that I'm at least there, okay? We've been having a lot of, well, I'd say technical difficulties, but we live for technical difficulties around here at Total. And even Michael Smyer, who you can see in the background there, has been kind enough to risk his social distancing and came in to help me set up. So we should have a really good audio today. I'm hoping that I sound crisp and clear and make sure you guys can hear me. Plus, we kind of moved position here a little bit. This is my boasting wall. So this is all my books. There's a few other books that I didn't write in here, but I always thought it's always fun to show off when you come into my house. It's like, here, these are my books, you know, so lots of fun. All right. So anyway, welcome to week 2, day 2 of Mike's Ask Me Anything. The function of this this discussion, this stream, there we go, I get the word right eventually, is to provide those of you who, because of coronavirus, are having difficulty getting to your regular resources. Maybe you're an instructor-led course and you're trying to work at home, working remotely. Maybe you're by yourself, whatever it might be, all are welcome. The goal here is to talk about CompTIA topics, particularly CompTIA A+, Net+, and Security+, although we can certainly go outside of that realm. And I'm here to answer those questions for you. So let's stay away from politics and religion, and we'll be absolutely fine. So first of all, I want everybody to know that just because you are here, you get 50% off everything on the hub at TotalSim.com. So all you got to do is look below here, and you'll see the link. And all you have to do is use this code, and you get 50% off across the board. Also, if you are an instructor of CompTIA courses and you have a current active class, that's the important part. You have to have an active class that you're having trouble, you're getting to your students, you're trying to give them some more information. All you have to do is work with Kathy Yale. And we are offering, I'm sorry, not videos. We are offering the practice exams and the simulations for 50% off. So not videos, sorry about that. All the people we sell videos to, Udemy and Linda, are already making great deals. So we decided to back off from there, and we're going to let you guys check out the amazing deals at whoever your video company is, lynda.com, Udemy, whatever it might be. And they do a great job. Okay, hello to lots of people there. It sounds, yeah. Oh, Batman, I always look and sound great. It's just the computers that make me sound less. Yeah. Nintendo Finky down in South Africa. Welcome, buddy. That's a good way. Gino's back. Oh, man. Hey, I got a lot of books there, Gino. I got a ton. Hey, Dr. Quinn, good to see you again, man. Well, this is like old home week. This is great. Tolowitz here. Julius Sai, could you please give us away your books as PDF? Because we're all quarantined, we have to buy books. Julia, it is so, the problem is if I were allowed to be a businessman, I would go broke very quickly because I'd just give everything away. McGraw-Hill has control on these things. I am not the publisher. I don't even own the copyright of my own work. It's all owned by McGraw-Hill. And let's just say McGraw-Hill is pretty careful about who they give stuff away to. Oh, I posted the wrong code. Okay, hang on. We're going to repost the proper code here, guys. Hang on just a minute. But yeah, McGraw-Hill's pretty tight. We tried doing the PDFs and ebooks, and we still do ebooks, but we did PDFs, and basically I just found all my ebooks being printed and sold on eBay. So guys, take a look. MM Live 406 is the is our new thing there. Professor Krager, what are you talking about? Nice unicorn laying down. Oh, my daughter drew that a billion years ago, and my daughter's now in her early 30s, but I like it, so I keep it there. She drew it when she was a little kid. Wasuso, what is your opinion on DDWRT versus OpenWRT? I'm less of a fan of the firmware updates that we would, 10 years ago or even more. These are fairly common things, and I become less enamored. The feature sets that they often offer are not nearly as attractive as they used to be. Plus, I think DDWRT, I think, is dead end. I don't think it's being updated anymore. Would it work? William, I got to warn you, man. Can you explain what is DDWRT and how it could work on my WRT32X router? Okay, so you got to do a Google search on DD-WRT. They list the routers that they will run on. Be careful with this. We have bricked a lot of routers using that tool. And like I was mentioning earlier, I'm not a huge fan of those anymore. It seems to me that the manufacturers are generating excellent configuration screens for the routers today. So I'm not the big fan that I used to be. Maybe for pushing radios or something like that would be about the only way I could think that that would happen anymore. Nigel, Mikey, you are great. Man, Mikey, that was, I don't hear that one anymore. Okay, so that's interesting. We had 2 questions on DD-WRT, which is, I haven't touched it in ages, to be honest with you. The benefits that they used to provide aren't nearly like they used to be. So I tend to stay away from it. Yeah, I got Michael here. Michael, you still jack with DD-WRT at all? Yeah, I think it's past tense to me. Leo with an exclamation point. I joined the Year Up program to get into cybersecurity without knowing really any IT information. What is your advice to start off with? Well, Leo, you need to know what IT is, really is your first big step. And the world of IT is a massive, massive thing. There are well over 700 different certifications in the world of IT. So you need to start thinking about what do you want to do? You know, are you a screwdriver tech who likes to build systems? Are you seeing yourself as a network administrator, administrating a Windows network? Are you interested in programming? Are you interested in you know, IT security, and what aspect of IT security? That's a huge topic. Probably, if I were to guess, and I don't know anything about you, so it's tricky. You know, the CompTIA A+ is a wonderful vendor-neutral certification, and I stick with CompTIA because it's the best deal out there in terms of getting people up and running in technology. I'm blessed at a point these days where I could probably talk McGraw-Hill into letting me write a book on underwater basket weaving, but I believe in what CompTIA does, in particular, the A+ Net Plus duo, as a way to get your core understanding of IT. And I'll stick with that forever. But I'd have to ask you more questions on a personal basis to get an answer for that. Mike, what are the practical differences between a network bridge and a switch? I got Michael Smyer here, so I'm yelling at him all the time. I can do a bridge and a switch. Well, to me, you know, a switch is a multi-port, point-to-point repeater, which acts as the cornerstone for just about any local area network you're going to run into. When you say the word bridge often means that it is a device with one stream in and one stream out, or it's communicating both directions, that provides an interface for example, to me, a wireless access point is the ultimate example of a bridge, where it's, you know, going between an 802.11 network and an Ethernet network. So to me, that's what the big difference is. When we say bridge, we rarely mean multiple ports, and we usually don't want to. We're usually doing some kind of, if not even physical, different media, that type of thing. What's next? What is the Ryan? What is the best way to learn Azure Cloud Platform? Man, dude, you have not been checking out Microsoft certifications lately, have you? They're actually calling it Certificapocalypse or something like that, Certicapocalypse, where all the traditional MCSA, MCSEs are being straight up dumped, and instead we're having these new role-based certifications, and Microsoft is rolling out a huge selection of Azure-based certifications. In terms of training for that, I won't be doing any of that. Total Seminars may be. I don't think we have it on the list right now, but you'll be looking at a broad cross-section of certifications. Check out Udemy, of course, check out lynda.com, and see what's out there for video and books. Look, when I want to learn about a cert, I like videos and I like books. And those are the two that I'm always going to be going for 9 times out of 10. I just happened to see in your videos your latest ones. Okay, not sure what that means. Sorry. Nigel, I emailed you once asking for tips to get a job, and you helped me. So thank you. Hey, man, Nigel, that's what I'm here for. I think one of the things I always hate about, especially when you're getting to technology, is that you really feel alone. And I'm always going to be there to help folks out. I probably do 2 or 3 personal phone calls a day, just talking to people. A lot of times people don't like my answers, but I'm always there to talk to people, and I'm glad that I heard that I was able to help you, Nigel. Every day. We do that every day. I read the descriptions of the CYSA Plus and CAS certs, but I don't really understand the difference. Okay, well, hang on. Incoming information. Looks like Scott jumped on top of it for me. Oh, okay. Do you mean CAS Plus? I think you mean CASP, right? So the bottom line is that the CASP came out before the CYSA, and the CASP smoked everybody. It was an incredibly difficult exam. I failed it twice before I finally passed it. And in my opinion, CompTIA brought in the CYSA as a kind of a bridge between, say, a Security Plus and the CASP. The CYSA Plus is also a very challenging exam, but the CYSA is very practical. Expectation of looking at log files, both within a Linux and a Windows environment, understanding functionally what they are, that type of thing. And then CASP takes that like a whole other level higher. Lots of simulations on the exam. It will challenge you. How does Diffie-Hellman exchange work to prevent man-in-the-middle attacks? Wow. Hey, Michael, you want to do that one for me? Diffie-Hellman is absolutely fascinating because in every other type of asymmetric encryption, you've got some kind of public key that is used for encryption and a private key that's used for decryption. That's not Corona. It's just allergy season here in Texas. The challenge we run into is that when you look at like RSA type encryptions, they're very, very complicated. But you got to remember, the only reason we use asymmetric encryption for the most part on the internet is to be able to pass a symmetric key. That's it. That's the whole thing behind it. So Diffie-Hellman dumps the whole public-private key, well, at least in terms of a certificate type of public key, and spins up on the fly through some of the most amazing math you've ever seen in your life to be able to generate sort of like a temporary public-private key, which allows them to pass a symmetric key so you can go ahead and do encryption. Diffie-Hellman's pretty darn good. The beauty of Diffie-Hellman is that you can't, as an attacker, you can't count on anything being the same time after time. If I'm intercepting in a man in the middle, if I'm intercepting between a classic secure HTML connection, I can always count on that both parties are always going to have the same public and private key. That's why they're so robust. Diffie-Hellman just kind of skips all that. The math will blow your doors off. And if you didn't have at least college level linear algebra, you can learn it, but it's pretty hairy, man, in terms of how it works. So I'm going to skip the math because I will melt your brain going through it. Trust me, it melted my brain. But Diffie-Hellman doesn't really have a public and a private key in the classic sense. It's spun up quickly to get that symmetric key passed over and goes from there. All right. Spectrum Vlog. Sir, I love hardware. Spectrum, I do too. Stop calling me sir. That was my dad's name. Can you tell me how I start my computer hardware career? What certificate do I need to? Okay, I gotcha. From India. The CompTIA A Plus is wildly popular and expected across India. The testing centers are always very busy. I get lots of calls from students in India. There's even a translation of my book into, I didn't realize that there was a special kind of Indian English. I just thought it was English. And we don't do any Hindi, unfortunately. But the best place to start, where the industry catches you, is a A+ certification. Now, the thing I need to warn you is that simply getting a CompTIA A+ certification doesn't instantly guarantee you a job. The only thing it's going to do is it's going to put your resume at the top of a stack so that your good technical interview, your good presentation, and your experience, whether it's professional experience or amateur experience, comes together to get you a job. So you want to do that all. Also, I know India has a lot of very good private technical schools. I've worked with a number of them, and those schools work hard to provide placement for their students. If you're going to go to a school, and I like schools, I believe in it. We got a bunch of instructors online right now that you can ask more questions about. But one of the questions I would ask whenever I start to go to any private technical school is, what do you do about placement? And you're going to have to do a little research depending on where you are in India to find the right spot. Tolowit, what is the difference in video quality? Where I lost you. Hang on. Things are scrolling. Sorry, Tolowit. Let me get back there, brother. What is the difference in video quality between HDMI and DisplayPort? Or is it data throughput and latency? Heck, I got Michael here. Did HDMI and DisplayPort generate the same basic resolutions?
Yeah, it depends on the generation, but yeah.
Yeah, and that is, yeah.
They're the same quality.
Yeah, they're going to be basically the same quality. And is data throughput and latency? Dang, you kind of got me off the top of my head.
HDMI is geared more for television. DisplayPort's geared more for computer monitors and directly driving LCDs.
Yeah, okay. So I'm quoting Michael Smyer here. Michael's saying that HDMI is more for display, televisions, things like that, where DisplayPort is more for monitors and such. I use both all the time. Right now, DisplayPort seems to be red hot for video cards. Certainly, some of my late gen GTX cards have more DisplayPort ports than HDMI. So how's that for half a lesson? Nigel, can I have a Skype session with you one day? I would love to talk to you. No, I will not give you a personal lesson. That's what these things are for. I'm glad to talk to you on an individual basis. Here's my email address. Send me an email and we'll see if we can talk. I also want to stress to you instructors, I talk to classes all the time. Every week I'm talking to some class somewhere. And I know it's a little tricky right now, but we could probably set up a Zoom meeting. And I do like Zoom. Zoom is patching themselves as fast as they can. They made a couple of mistakes going out. And I think Zoom is doing a great job of getting their stuff patched and in good order. So I can always do something like that. But of course, you can always just come here and ask questions. I mean, that's literally what this is for, is to ask me anything. What companies are selling actual certified Cat 7 products? I don't know. Get on Google, type in Cat 7, go to the marketplace and see what's for sale. I could do that for you, but I'll bet you could figure it out. I'm enjoying your CompTIA certification. Is there any glossary of terms to help? First of all, it's not my A+ certification. It's A+ is administered by an organization called the Computing Technology Industry Association, better known as CompTIA. I am just one of many, many trainers out there that you can choose from for you to get the training you need to be able to successfully pass the A+. Also, keep in mind, you don't have to take any training at all. You don't have to watch any videos. You don't have to read a book. You don't have to do any practice questions. You want to just go in cold? Go for it, man. And if you've got a lot of skills, you'd be surprised. For experienced technicians, you don't need anything at all. I wouldn't recommend that. For most people, I would say, even if you think you know it all, get some practice questions. I am one of many people who provide practice questions. One of my excellent competitors is an organization called Transcender. My buddy Robin Abernathy writes all the questions for Transcender. She does an absolutely amazing job. But even if you're highly skilled, get some practice questions and kind of burn through them a little bit. Good practice questions give you a look and feel of how CompTIA words things and stuff. And a lot of times that'll knock out test anxiety. Anyway, I didn't answer your question though, did I, Mr. Sousa? Is there a glossary? I have a glossary at the back of my book for a lot of stuff, but no, I'm unfamiliar. Well, for example, if you look at the actual objectives, CompTIA provides a glossary, or at least a lot of key terms at the end of their objectives. So you just go to www.comptia.org, and search for the objectives for A+, Net+, Security+, whatever you're looking for. And all of these provide key terms, which to me is very close to a glossary. Is familiarity with Windows 7 earlier Windows 7? Andrew is asking, let me say that properly. Do you need to know earlier versions of Windows to pass the 1002 exam? I'm going to step out on a limb here and say no. In my opinion, the questions have become generic enough that as long as you're using Windows 7 or later, you're probably fine. There are enough Windows, a lot of the questions, like for example, where you look at the transition, even within the world of Windows 10, where everything used to be in the control panel, and now that's fading out and more goes to your system icon. So CompTIA doesn't really do a lot in terms of like paths. They used to have a lot of questions like, where do you click to get to what? Those questions are very, very light in my opinion. Make sure you know, like, what does Device Manager do, and that type of thing is really the most important part to it. You do not have to revisit Vista. I got to tell you, Andrew, I liked Vista. I thought Vista was pretty cool. My problem with Vista is that it had poor driver support more than anything else. But I like Vista. When I had problems with it, it was because I did something dumb more often than not. How does Diffie-Hellman verify the server is who they say it is? Timothy, it does not. So if you're looking for true authentication, Diffie-Hellman is not the way to go. On when? Hi, Mike. Oh my God, I'm seeing you live. Yep, it's me, baby. Been watching your videos on Udemy. It's so exciting actually seeing you and talking. Well, just so you guys know, I'm going to be here every Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And when we switch back to standard time, I'll be doing that way as well. With the coronavirus, so many of us are alone and we don't have a source to talk about stuff. This is my connection to you guys. More importantly, if you watch the live chat, there's a lot of very, very smart people on this as well as me. And you can see how so many, I'm going to pick on Scott Jernigan because, he works for me, but there's lots of people out there who are being very helpful. This is a great place to learn about CompTIA certifications and more importantly, to get it done. Front End 880. Hello, Mike. I recently purchased your A+ all-in-one. My rent thanks you. I'm studying for the exam and along with your videos on Udemy, good combination. How would you recommend I use the book with the videos? Reread the chapters per exam? Yeah, I mean, everybody's different on this. To me, your best in terms of learning is going to be the videos, but the book will often go into more detail than I have time to do on the videos. Plus, depending on what book you have, there's more than one A+ book out there. There's end of chapter questions and things like that that really help you kind of tie that in. But all of my videos track very, very closely to chapters in the book. So videos and read, videos and read, videos and read. Paul Murphy. So I'm Michael Meyers, and the other guy is Michael Smyer. Yeah, Mike. How long you been working for me, dude?
Forever.
He's been working for me forever, and yeah, we get teased about that a lot. So it's okay. Oh, God bless it, Brandon Swenson. So Brandon, I'm not super familiar with EPL versus EVPL. It's a virtual connection thing that kind of took over from MPLS. And I would guess, I happen to know that Brandon Swenson does a lot of work for satellite services to residences in large complexes. And unfortunately, that is not a skill set for me, man. But yeah, don't have any answers on that for you. Nigel, do you teach courses apart from A+, Net+, and Security+? Well, Total Seminars has a huge number of courses that we cover. From as simple as IT fundamentals up through CYSA and all kinds of stuff out there, some cloud concepts. And, all you have to do is head over to www.totalsim.com, and we provide that. Now, I don't personally do the instruction on these. We bring in lots of really smart people who do a great job. And so, yeah, we cover a lot of stuff. But for me personally, A+, Net Plus, Security Plus is kind of my ballywick. And that's a full-time job right there. Sarah Baum. Hi, Mr. Myers. Glad to meet you. I bought your book hardcover, but I did not get a PDF. No, we gave up on PDFs because everybody was taking my PDFs and copying them everywhere. It was a huge error. I lost my shirt trying to be a nice guy. So never again. Yeah, sorry. You can do ebooks if you want to, but PDFs, those days are over. Sorry, Sarah. Spectrum. My name is Bishal, and I want to know that CompTIA A+ certification is enough for hardware career to start. And after CompTIA A+ certification, what other hardware certifications do we have? Hope you well. Spectrum, if you went back, back in the old days, you could actually get certifications like Hewlett-Packard certifications, IBM certifications, Dell certifications, Gateway certifications, Acer certifications. Those days are over. They're gone. So you want to get a job in PC hardware, knock on doors and ask for a job. It shocks me how many entry-level positions don't get filled because nerds think that I have to get all these certifications and then get a job. No, sir. Number one, get a job. I don't care if you're working as a sales guy at a Best Buy. It doesn't matter. Get a job and get out there. Most of these companies, here in Texas, we have Micro Center, we have Fry's. I'm not so sure about Fry's anymore, where they would actually help people get their certifications. And so the number one thing is get a job. If it's a low-end job, who cares? You'll be moving up very, very quickly. And in the IT world, especially at the entry level, people jump from jobs to jobs and nobody even blinks about it. Do not sit here and go, I'm going to get all these certifications and get a job. It doesn't work that way. You get out there and you get a job. Any amount of anybody who can show that they have even 6 months of any kind of experience. It doesn't even have to be paid. Go work for some charity that needs IT support. Help your family. And then after you help your family, then help your family's friends. And then next thing you know, it's your barber and your plumber. And that's how you gain this type of experience. And then you reach a certain point where it's like, I have enough skill, I'm going to actually charge for this. And then you charge some ridiculously small amount. And you're going to screw up. You're going to destroy computers. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. But that's what happens. Stop this whole, I have to get certifications and get a job. If you want to go to a school that has good job placement, go for it. But have I drilled this into the dirt enough? Yeah? Okay, good. Andrew Hutz, I had a nightmare of a time with Vista, but I've just been knowing what it's doing. No, Vista was hard. It was drivers. That was the biggest problem with Vista, was drivers. But it had some cool stat. I don't want to get into a big Vista story right now. It used to be in the Vista control panel, there was a little icon in there said, people you know. And that was the last vestiges of Microsoft's, the old Longhorn operating system, the complete failure that they were going to use. But fascinating stories. You're going to have to buy me a couple of beers to get that story out of me. Yeah, Paul, we all waited for drivers for a long time. It was always a challenge. Hi, Mike. Which one is better, RAID 5 or RAID 10 to prepare a file server? 1.2 gigabyte times 8 disks in terms of speed. RAID 10, in my opinion, is going to be a better deal. You're going to lose space because you're spreading it across more drives. But RAID 5 is out there. It's okay. It's okay, but there's just so many better options now. In fact, even before RAID 10, I'd look at RAID 6, or I'd look at some of these proprietary RAIDs. Microsoft Storage Spaces is a darn fine little software RAID solution. But Michael, what's our RAID? The brand name.
6 and 10.
No, but what's the brand name? What company? Yeah, so Synology is a great company. This is what we put all of our RAIDs on. And even Synology, their RAID 6 is really more of a proprietary RAID But the 2-drive failure thing is very handy. The other problem people run into with RAID is that it's great to have RAID, but when drives go down, what are you going to do about it? So to have a RAID solution that lets you know you've got a bad drive and it's sitting in a rack somewhere, who looks? To have a RAID solution that includes hot swappable drives, hot spares, things like that, are often as important to me as the version of RAID you have. And people tend to forget about that. Sorry, guys. Here it comes again. Okay. Andrew Hutz, do you recommend setting up and using some kind of home lab in order to get your first job and build skills? And if so, how should we present in a resume? Well, I'm not sure if home lab is the word I'm looking for. How about a home-based business? And look, it's not that hard. Learn how to clean malware, okay? Learn how to add RAM. Learn how to snap in a better video card, and you're probably 80% of the way there for most of the jobs even the pros get. And so I wouldn't call it a lab per se. And don't go buying a bunch of equipment. You don't need anything. You need a good screwdriver and some common sense, and you'll go far. In terms of your resume, put there and say, volunteer work, working with blah, 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 that kind of stuff. People read that stuff, especially on entry-level jobs. Those things are huge. In terms of the interview, be honest. You can say, look, I've been working on my own. I'm working on some certs. I really want to be in this business. I think I've got some great skills. And, why don't you ask me some technical questions so I can show off? By the way, you got to be careful about technical interviews. The challenge in technical interviews is that the person who's interviewing you, I guarantee you, is more of a nerd than you are. And when I technically interview guys, I'm going to keep pounding on them until I get them to say those 3 little words that make me so happy. You ready? You want to hear 3 best words you can ever say as a technician? I don't know. It is so hard for so many nerds to say something like, I don't know. Don't ever try to technobabble me because I'll murder you. I certainly won't give you a job if you technobabble me. But for a nerd who can say, I don't know, but I know how to figure it out, that is huge. And it's absolutely critical for people to be able to do that stuff. Now, I might want to add, when you're talking about maybe studying for like an A+ or something, for example, like CompTIA, in their objectives, they will give you a list of hardware that might help you learn. And none of it is particularly expensive or challenging, but it would give you some tool sets to be able to do what you need to do. And getting equipment is surprisingly easy. Craigslist here in the States is a wonderful resource, and knocking doors on mom and pop computer places. Here in the state of Texas, there's ways to get free computer equipment. I don't know about other states, but there's always there's always some way to get equipment. You don't have to go spend a ton of money on it. Jao Sosa, I am configuring a lot of network at home just for practice fun. Should I turn off IPv6 on the router or leave it on? You leave it on. IPv6 is amazing and wonderful and delicious. And every time I use IPv6, I hate IPv4 that much more. IPv6 continues to grow in terms of penetration. I think it's probably close to 20% of the world. That might even be more than that now, is running on IPv6 as a primary stack. But pretty much all computers today that are interesting to me are running both IPv4 and IPv6 simultaneously, and you want both. Now, the only reason I might turn off IPv6, and even this would be a temporary, is because I'm learning about IPv4 and I'm using Wireshark or something like that, and I'm just trying to keep the number of packets down. But I would do the same thing with IPv6. I'd turn off IPv4, make sure your router's configured right to do that. But we do use IPv6 on a daily basis. If you have IPv6 on your home computers and you go to google.com, you're almost certainly connecting via an IPv6 connection, not IPv4. There's lots of, Facebook is another one. There's a lot of them out there. Nigel, you should teach Linux Plus and CCNA. I think about it all the time. Homer, hey Homer. Hi Mike, have you done Toastmasters? Do you recommend it? No, you're not the first person to recommend it to me either. I've always understood Toastmasters really worked well for people who want to practice, speaking skills. And I may have a lot of flaws, but I can dance and I can talk, man. So I just never felt a great motivation to do that. But I've heard wonderful things about Toastmasters, especially for us nerds who have trouble even maintaining eye contact. It's a great way to go. And Toastmasters is international. It's all over the world. It's a wonderful organization. Elisa Barb, you're A+. In my private time, I have a great passion for military history, in particular 20th century military history. If it floated or flew or ran around on treads, I could probably talk to you about it in great detail. I used to be considered an expert at tanks, for example, until about 10 years ago when World of Tanks came around, and now we got a million experts on it. So if you're going to catch me reading a book, it's probably going to be some kind of military history. I'm reading about Halsey right now, in particular, some of the actions he took in the Pacific during World War II. It's pretty nerdy stuff. I also have another great book on the 4th Cavalry Regiment in the American Civil War. Absolutely fascinating book. Timothy Bennett, is it difficult having such a popular common name? Sometimes it's incredibly good to have that name. I tend to disappear in a crowd on stuff, like John Smith or something like that. See, I was convinced that God made everybody, and he was short like about 14 million guys. He named them all Mike Meyers. I have met so many Mike Meyers and Mick Meyers, and I never realized there were so many different ways to spell Myers, but there are. And I've met a bunch of them. Although people often either confuse me with the actor, right? Or the murderer from the Halloween movies. Before the pandemic, wow, man. Sorry. William Molina, before the pandemic, do you ever go out to the public and meet people and hold seminars? I used to do it every week. I guess about 5 years ago, I kind of retired from that. I just got tired of living in a suitcase all the time. Although it was funny, I would come home after I'd be doing all these seminars, and I'd come home and I'd go to the office, and I'd come back to the house. Bed wasn't made. I'm like, what? Where are the maids? And oh wait, I'm not in a hotel. Yeah, so. Front end again. Always welcome to ask multiple questions, buddy. All good. I currently have the CompTIA Plus 1001, 1002 all-in-one exam guide, 10th edition. The hard part for me is that within one chapter, they cover 1000, 1002, but the video series is exam specific. Well, you know what? Listen, man, this actually can get me a little pissed off. And that is, I don't feel that separating the exams is always the best idea. For decades, CompTIA, 30% of the questions would be on one exam or the other. And I got into the habit of teaching people, I go, look, just sit down, you do one test after the other. Schedule them both for the same day. You do one, pass or fail, you do the next one. You knock them both out. And that took care of a lot of the problems we had with overlapping questions. With the 1001 and 1002, that attitude is changing for me because CompTIA now does a pretty good job of separating them. There is still some small amount of overlap, but it's not easily detectable. I have tried making split books, 1001, 1000, or 801, 802, 901, 902 books, and I lost my shirt is really what it boiled down to. Nobody bought them. And so partially economics. Do I hack? All right. Do I hack? Do I have any free giveaways today? Scott, do we have free giveaways? Hang on. Let's see. What do we got today? Yes, we do. All right. Today we are giving away either this is the A plus or Net plus total simulations. These are all the simulation type questions you see on the exam. We are giving away 1 year access to A plus or Net plus, one or the other, and we're going to give those away. And we're going to have some kind of little competition here shortly. And we're going to give something away. Scott, don't let the time get away from you on that, okay, brother? Alan Duggan. Hey, Mike, I love the big collection of all the behind you. I'd love to have something like that. Well, start writing books, brother. You can have them too. There's a couple of cool ones in here. So a bunch of interesting translations. Whoops, doing it wrong. That's Farsi. It's kind of cool, huh? Yeah, there's a bunch more. I got German, Japanese, stuff like that in there too. Those aren't all my books. If you look closely, you can see books that other people have written, but they're mostly my books. Can computers have emotions? Of course they can. Just talk to Siri. She'll tell you. Home-based business sounds even better. I got to tell you, I am too obnoxious to actually work for anybody. And so I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur, mainly because when I tried to work in organizations, let's just say I'm not quite PC enough. I've mellowed out in my age, but yeah, I believe in home-based businesses of any form. I like working for myself. Hey, Professor Krager, talking old school. How about Windows ME? Released with 64K known bugs, but the bugs were better than 2000 if you wanted to use your multimedia. I tell you, to me, Windows 2000 was one of the greatest operating systems ever made in the history of Microsoft. It was stable, it worked well, it started to bridge between the weird 16-bit Windows and the NT world. That's really, even it was before XP really did it better. But I love 2000. It worked out incredibly well. I liked it. I liked Windows 2000. Jacob Tabaris, Mr. Myers, what is the meaning of life itself? Well, 42, Michael? The answer is 42. Now you have to reform your question. Okay, is the matrix real? Of course it is. Do I help people with resumes? Generally, no. There's just, I'm not against helping anybody, but the bottom line is there's just so much great resume help out there now. I don't know how I could add to it or make it better. So, no, I don't necessarily do that. Paul Murphy, that'd be a good slogan to put on a t-shirt. A good screwdriver and some common sense. Paul Murphy, I like the cut of your jib, young man. Good, Spectrum Vlog. Glad I'm helping out there, man. How did I become so famous? I don't think I'm famous. I mean, within nerds, some of you guys know me, but I will tell you, it's kind of fun every now and then. I was actually in Chicago last fall, and I just ran up to some Chicago cop because I was trying to figure out where the route was going. We're trying to catch up with a buddy of mine who's running, and the cop is very helpful and all this. Then he looks at me and goes, "You're Mike Meyers." It's like, I'm not sure if I want a cop saying that to me, but he'd been watching my videos on lynda.com and knew me. So yeah, that made me feel, kind of good. Oh, Leslie, you're starting to crack me here a little bit. So, Alessa, you come here and work for me for free for COVID-19. Yeah. So we're giving away an awful lot here, brother. Andrew Hutz, I love studying military history. World War I is high on my list. I got a degree in history. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, can't make a lot of money at history, but it's fascinating stuff. There is a movie about Mike Meyers. Not this Mike Meyers, but yeah, there is one. So, Jim 13, what video games am I playing? Right now, gosh, what am I playing? I'm actually playing an old game called Age of Empires that's been recently updated by Microsoft. They kicked it to 1080 mode and put some cool animations in it and stuff. It's an old real-time strategy game. I tend to go for real-time strategy games. My first-person shooter days are fading because I just don't have the same fast twitch muscles you young guys do. I get murdered. Until fairly recently, I blew the dust off of my old World of Warcraft account, playing World of Warcraft Classics, and that suddenly remembered why I quit playing World of Warcraft in the first place. But yeah, so yeah, my gaming's pretty. Space Engineers, I'm playing that right now. Kerbal Space Program, both are pretty high learning curve games, but I like them very much. Yeah, so if it's a military history, it's space, and space history is my other great passion. Dan's Said. Dear Mike, if I get a static IP from my ISP, I would like to purchase a block of IPs to distribute on my network. Okay. I guess my first question I'd ask you is, why do you want to do that? I mean, are we talking, the only reason to have static IPs is because you have servers anymore. Would you agree with that, Michael?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, today, using dynamic IPs, even public dynamic IPs, which is, that WAN address on your router is DHCP. I guarantee it, unless you're spending a little bit of money. You can absolutely get blocks of IP addresses. If you're willing to pay the money, it's not a problem to do that. But now you're actually asking is, how do I do it? Yeah, there we go. Michael Smyer says, just do IPv6. And I necessarily wouldn't disagree with him. Both server side and client side. If I get a static IP from my ISP, I would like to purchase a block of IPs. Well, you purchase the block of IPs from your ISP and distribute it on my network. What equipment do you suggest to be used? I mean, even the cheapest little home router can support routing static IPs. You're using static IPs because you have public-facing servers. You're trying to establish your own web server or a VPN server or something like that, and you don't want these things to change very often. You're going to probably be setting up a classic old-school demilitarized zone, DMZ, where you're going to be using at least 2 routers. That's a complicated question. I would like you to say why you want to do that. What's your motivation and goals? If you just want to play, that's an expensive way to play, but you could do it. And actually with IPv6, it's even easier. Don't go, Mr. Sousa. If you go, all the plants will die. Homer, tips for IT burnout. I've seen guys in the industry for 20, 30 years, and I hate it now. Well, you can get IT burnout. I've certainly had it a number of times myself. I mean, the thing is that if you're getting burnout, you've picked a corner of IT that doesn't thrill you anymore. And that's why I always tell people, always be pursuing certifications, because it shows me that you're growing in the industry. And, this is, you get new certs because you're looking for a new place to go and a new venue. If you don't have Cisco, for example, Cisco is a fascinating way to go. Certified wireless network professional, CWNP. Look towards angles that allow you to bring that passion back online. But keep working. Do I see tablets replacing laptops? Yes. I have a Surface Pro, which is really a tablet with a snap-in keyboard. The machine I'm using right here in front of you right now is a very high-end MSI laptop. And to be honest with you, I almost never use this thing anymore. It's great for virtual machines and stuff like that. For my go-to quick web browsing, stuff like that, I go to my Surface. I don't actually own any true tablets at this moment, mainly because I got a Surface. But if I didn't have that Surface, and I also have a really big phone that almost pretends to be a tablet, so that tends to be the direction I would go. I do think tablets will be replacing laptops and already have in a broad cross-section of areas. Threeborn Alpha, I'm sorry, the days of the PDFs are over. I got robbed. I mean, straight up robbed. There were people printing out the PDFs and selling entire copies of my book on eBay and stuff like that. And we just, well, McGraw-Hill made the decision, not me. And but I agree with it that the PDF days are over. I'm sorry. Here, Paul's going to help you out there, Dan. I'm going to let you and Paul work that one out, Dan, because I'm not sure. Why would you not use a normal LAN DHCP server? They're great. Yeah, and as Scott says, the Ewart Alpha is the problem is it's really a McGraw-Hill call. All right. Professor Messer is better than you. Professor Messer is a great guy. I've met him personally a number of times. And then go do with Professor Messer. So Nigel, I just I don't make any money on YouTube. I mean, I'm doing this because they got a good streaming product. But honestly, I look at things like lynda.com and Udemy as really where I present and go out to people. Do I know Network Chuck? Yes, I've seen some of his videos. Good stuff. I see a website a few days ago that is Udacity. Oh man, there are so many different companies out there. Hey Michael, can I sweet talk you into doing a search on UDA City and see if there's anything there worth talking about? We're going to check it out while we're talking here right now, buddy. Man, this is great. You guys are just doing all your talking between themselves. This is handy. Okay, we're starting to run low on time. So, are there skills, hobbies outside of IT that have influenced your understanding of IT? No, I'd say the reverse. It's my understanding of IT that has helped me to understand a lot of other stuff. If you were looking for, I'm going to twist your question a little bit. You know, one of the things I often look for is people who aren't into IT, who want to be in IT. I'll ask them questions. People who build models, people who quilt, people who play with radios, people who like cameras and photography, stuff like that. People who would rather try to fix their own sewing machine than take it in. When I see what I call kinesthetics like that, that often tells me, and I've got somebody who's probably going to be really, really good at IT. I know it's not quite at what you're asking, but. Okay, so let's do a giveaway. We only got a few more minutes here. So again, we're going to be giving away 1 year of all the simulations for both either A+ or Net Plus, depending on what you need. Sorry, I got itchy nose. And so we're going to give away all of our simulations. So in order to do this, I'm going to pick a number. I'm going to write it here on my phone so there can't be any question marks here. I have way too many apps on here. Where's my little notepad tool? All right, I'm going to just text it to. All right, you guys ready? So I'm going to type in a number between 1 and 1,000. And I have just texted it to Scott Jernigan. So you guys ready? Whoever wants to compete, all I need you to do is type in a number between 1 and 1,000 right now. Right now, Tulawit is the winner until somebody else types in another number. $42, hilarious. Going once? Going twice? And the winner is, believe it or not, my little pain in the rear end, Alessa Barbie, or Barb, with 470. The answer was, you're not going to be able to read it. It's 423. Alessa, even with your pain in the butt questions, you still won. Free. There you go, buddy. You got free, man. You got to be smiling right now. Free access. In order to get that, all you got to do send my buddy Kathy Yale an email, and you're the winner. Isn't that hilarious? The biggest pain in the rear end today, and he wins the free stuff. How funny is that? Okay. I got a couple. I see if we can sneak in one more quick question here. So Jacob Tabaris, Messer versus Meyers. I don't see it that way. I think me and Professor Messer work together beautifully. I know lots of people who use both of our stuff. I am thrilled to have competition out here, and I like him. He's a great guy. You know, it's a Dan Snade. Sorry, buddy, I'm losing track. I'm getting so many questions. I apologize. So Dan, I apologize. I'm not going to be able to get a good answer on there for you. The Bryce Man, I bought your A+ book 2 years ago. All right. And what do I need to learn supplement for the test now? Dude, you can't do that. It drives me crazy. You buy for the test that's out there and then take that test. Can't fiddle fart around. So to be able to tell you what's the difference, it's going to be tough. Okay, so one more time, guys. If you are an instructor and you have an active class right now of any of the courses that we provide training materials for, you get free access. But you have to be an instructor in a real school, and you have to be giving it away. And I'm sorry, you have to be a real instructor in a real school. You have to contact Kathy Y at TotalSim.com. And she's really good at figuring out fakes, so don't even bother unless you're a real instructor. And we give you free access to whatever course you're teaching right now. And in some very rare circumstances, it's really tricky to do this, but we can sometimes do it. You can even get free ebooks. They're not PDFs, they're ebooks. They're like Kindle books, but you can even get ebooks. You have to be an instructor to take advantage of that deal. It's a great deal. Yeah, Dr. Quinn, you're absolutely right. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, don't they? Dr. Quinn, CompTIA, yeah, no, we're all set there. Okay, very good. All right, guys. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it every time. Yeah, Josh Medrano, there's just too many changes. They update these things dramatically every 3 years, and there's absolutely no choice in it. Okay, one more question. What do we got? I'm trying to. Daniel Coleman, NVIDIA, of course. Thanks, guys. All right, so I think that's about all we got for today, guys. Keep in mind, we do this every single Monday through Friday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. This is the opportunity. If I didn't get to a question, just come on back. We'll get it tomorrow. And this is here for you. Please come on back. This is a completely public thing. Tell your friends. Everybody is welcome to join in and learn more about CompTIA A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. And you get to hang out with me, Mike Meyers, and talk about cool stuff. In the meantime, until tomorrow, hasta la vista, baby.